The cellos, violins, violas, and my upright bass wept to the floor while we sawed at them with fraying bows. Our music fell roughly in step with Dr. Scott's emphatic baton. Such as it was every afternoon that my high school orchestra met in the band room to rehearse. Sour was the sound we made from the beginning to the end of the semester the orchestra assembled without a cause. No amount of encouragement, attention to detail, analysis, or passion could Dr. Scott offer on our behalf to change the trajectory of the music we'd be able to play. It wasn't as if the orchestra was made up of bad kids. A more respectful class couldn't be found in the district. Jesus played with perfect intonation, and his violin couldn't be heard even if you rested your ears in his lap. Cora made her cello sound as if it was falling down hollow stairs. We were a respectful, shy class, and there was not a shining star among us. Dr. Michael Scott knew this. He had the decency to lead our orchestra seriously and soberly in spite of its sorry condition. He had a master's degree in jazz studies. He was a doctor of philosophy and music education. He had performed all over the country, leading ensembles, symphonies, and bands through respected concert halls. It is likely that I was a part of the worst orchestra Dr. Scott ever conducted. Before our concerts, Dr. Scott would warmly say, "This is the moment you all have been working for." The curtains would rise, and we'd blow it immediately, ruining the stripped-back medley from Pirates of the Caribbean. Our strings left the famous melodies unrecognizable. Dr. Scott would proudly bow before the amassed parents in the crowd. He always maintained perfect concert decorum. Under the spotlight, I watched Michael Scott stand, cummerbunded with a one-snide joke in his mind, as he confidently conducted a terrible children's orchestra for anybody who would listen. At the end of every song and suite, Dr. Scott would relieve the audience with a nice joke, the kind of joke where the teller accentuates his eyebrow and the audience responds by laughing charitably. Upon closing the concert, Dr. Scott would congratulate us on a job well done. Somehow he meant it. Michael D. Scott had the ability to be where he was. He must have known that the orchestra students would grow up and move away. He must have known that his own involvement in the orchestra program would expire and become something else. He knew that the instruments would change hands and be refurbished, possibly finding a home with a music student with rhythm. Such as it was that Michael Scott's high school orchestra passed like a shadow, gone so soon without a trace. Years later, I was driving down the interstate when I saw Michael D. Scott's likeness upscaled across a large billboard. He had been hired to advertise something, and I can't remember what it was. It took a couple of commutes for me to accept that it really was him up there. He wore a sharp navy blue sweater, an academic one, like the sweaters he used to wear to our rehearsals. Dr. Scott now towered over the city like he towered over the freshman violinists in stunted chairs. With a calm, kind look on his billboard face, Dr. Scott continued his work, conducting me through my individual and collective shortcomings.